Hi YouTube. How are you? I'm doing okay. Uh I'm at this is kind of part of what I was talking about yesterday with the narcissist. I wrote down a few things that may also help the conversation change. I was touching like how like if they ask you a question, but you could be talking about something and they could even change the subject and then make it look like you went off when they actually are the ones that go off on another tangent, like another whole, like another root system on a whole separate tree. Um, um, oh, that they're, I don't know. I guess on that, that's probably, Kim, thank you for giving me some input on your opinion as far as having been around that type of people and that you're not, and hoping that that lady watched this last one I made. I hope she did too. Uh, which brings it into to I don't know if it was her son she was dealing with, and um, I've been through that also. Um, that makes it almost doubly as bad. But having a good support system is really, really important. Then I have one son that wasn't ever really, oh, like a narcissist, but he just was so upset it sort of made him look like one because he was afraid to get close to people, you know. Although he's just a big people person, which is a crying shame because and I was quite a bit like that for a long time, really, really afraid to put myself out there and even try to trust anybody. It was like I would not even give anybody a chance. I'm getting way better at it, but I think it's difficult for a lot of us because we've been through some stuff, to say the least. So I do value your opinion and thank you very much. Um, I got a letter from my youngest son yesterday, and he's been through some stuff, and he asked me if I would, or he was just hoping he didn't lose everybody. Well, no, that's impossible. I mean, I love everybody. Whether or not I want to be around them or not, that's a whole different story. But, it just depends on if they can let God in their hearts or not. This is a big thing in my life. It's the biggest thing in my life. If a person, I mean, like I say, I've had evil people tell me they believe in God. Well, and I say, well, then so does Satan. Whoop de doo. I mean, what's that prove? Do you follow his words? Are you living like he expects us to? You know, um, and although we love people, that does not mean that we bend over backwards till our backs break. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes you got to set people to the side and put them in God's hands. It doesn't mean we have hatred for them. It just means that, hey, it's like, I'll see you when you're better. It's like they're in a hospital that we can't go in right now, you know, that type of thing. So, or they're in hell, and it's best to stay away from it. Because engaging in conversations with people that just do not care is self-demeaning. It's not doing you or them any good at that point. So if you see what I mean. So, and I'm not just preaching to the choir because I understand that, like Kim, for instance, said she's been through that, and is luckily has people in her life that she can trust. That's the biggest thing in my life. Biggest, I mean, well, God's the biggest, but trust is ultimate. If you can't trust somebody, then there's no sense even communicating with them because it's fruitless. So yeah. Also, I've been around liars that if a conversation is based on a lie, untruth, it's not even a conversation. You know what I mean? It's like a one-sided conversation. And then I was thinking of impet, like imp. I wonder if there's a word impet. I was gonna look that up. I was gonna look up glib, which I know, but and I'll get around to it. But imp. Um oh gee, now that was my youngest son when he was younger. He was an imp. After being around his older brother and his dad, that's just how things happen. So not a total troll, just more oh, not even super naughty. He was even funny in a real bad way. It was terrible because he was so cute about shit. But he always had God in his heart. Both my sons did up into a point. I would say up into the drug point. Um, when they got into drugs, that pushes God further away when you're inebriated in any way, you know. Um, it just does, you know. I'm not talking about like herb. I really am not. Um, Although people can get carried away on that too, you know. It just depends on if we ever give things a break or some people smoke all their lives until they're like about ready to die, and then I know somebody that literally smoked from her teenage years until she was like 70 and only quit because of her lungs, you know. So, whatever. you know, Everybody's different, I guess. So, yeah. I can imagine smoking every day of my life for like 50 years. That's crazy, you know. But I know people have done it, and they do it. When I was young, I met old people that were smokers, and they probably died smoking. So, I mean, herb. But I don't know. I think for jobs and kids and different reasons in life that we would give things a break at different times in our lives when that's called for, you know, when the situation demands. So, but yeah. So no, my son could never lose my love. Um, Neither one of them, but wanting to be around anybody that has issues, real bad issues. If a person isn't equipped to deal with it or they've dealt with that type of thing too much, then it's time to give yourself some time for you, and that's where I'm at in my life. Um, yeah, and that's a big deal. It is. Mm. Let's see what else is going on. Um, oh, So here in America, in the United States, we have this guy that's well, I think he's like Puerto Rican and black, so he's biracial, or yeah, biracial. Well, a person of color, period. But he put a noose around his own neck. He poured bleach on himself. This was in Chicago. His name is Justin Smollett. Um, they call him Jussie, and said that these guys that were Trump supporters, and keep in mind now, this is all a lie. And he got caught going to the cops and lying about these two guys that he said attacked him. And I do believe this is just people because he's a actor that was going to get fired from or laid off from the some show. Oh, what was it? Empire, which I don't watch, but then I don't even know this guy from Adam. Only now, recently, that he's been in the news, and so these suckers, I don't even call them the powers that be because that's not powerful. That's just putrid. Are trying to incite race wars, trying to incite civil wars on people around here, trying to get us to fight in areas we haven't been fighting about for decades. There's only a certain amount of white supremacists that are out there, and in my eyes, from what I have seen in my life, it's very few people. Even people that appeared to be prejudiced and then met a person of color and found out better, that type of thing. I've even witnessed that many times. It's like, even personally, had somebody, um, well, more than one person that I've turned over and said, hey, you know, you sure you want to be prejudiced against me? you know? So, I mean, yeah, they're trying to get us to, they're inciting violence, they're inciting riots. I know they are. If people would have jumped on that and started picketing and been out in the streets and all up in arms to protect this guy because he's also gay, so they could say, well, he was beat up because he's homosexual and he was a person of color. And now I'm thinking if somebody beats it up, it's just because he's a dink, So that's the way it is. If a person's going to be immoral, they're a liar to God anyway, so there's nothing they won't do, honestly. So, anytime anybody wants to join in my I'd rather lose my soul than be a liar, join in. you know, I'd rather die than lie. I mean, die, die. Not with the possibility of being resurrected, that type of death. you know, it's like I'd rather cease to exist than be a piece of crap. You know, maybe that should be my new slogan. Anybody want to join me? You in? Just say I'm in. you know. So, see, I've been around people that felt threatened about me having friendships or reaching out to people, and I can't deal with that anymore. It's like, nah, I'm not gonna. I told myself I'm gonna find good friends whether or not somebody wanted to make friends with me or not. I didn't care anymore. It's like, no, I'm only gonna find the very best, and that's exactly who I will surround myself with, and that's it. You know, it's a really important thing. It is. Who we have in our lives is a reflection of ourselves. It is, you know. So They say birds of a feather flock together. Oh, do they ever? It's a good test on, like, if you're going to go to be in a relationship or any friendship whatsoever. It is a true test to see how they act in public in front of a large group of people. More than once, like go out like several times and see how do they interact with other people. I've said before, I've had guys try to impress me by putting down another woman. It's like, oh, no, no. You just, or another man for that matter. But um, you do that and you're already ace me off your list. It's like I have lived with somebody that says stuff about people and I'll defend people. It's like whatever, say whatever you want, doesn't matter, you know, because I just expect that type of thing out of like a narcissist personality will always try and diminish a person's worth, no matter who they are. Everybody, anybody, doesn't matter. Could be a little kid. This is true. Especially little kids in a lot of extremes, they're jealous of them because they're getting attention that the narcissist requires for themselves. So, yeah. And in a family situation, that's really hard on the kids. I got my kids out of that type of situation just to bring them into a similar situation because I was stupid or it's what God wanted me to do. I'm still kind of, um, well, I know, but yeah, it wasn't violent, but it was mental, you know. So, well, he did smack me once, but I went to the women's shelter and I reported him, and he actually spent a night in jail. And if it happens again, first I'll kick his ass and then I'll call the cops. So it won't happen again. It's been a very long time. But yeah, I should have just cleaned his clock right then and there. And I told him, I said, if I had done that the very first time I was ever even hit when I was a little kid, if I was able to just kick their ass right then and there, it probably never would have happened again. But when you're vulnerable, a person knows that, they take advantage of that. So, yeah, yeah. But something I've been struggling with is if somebody tries to paint me as somebody I'm not, like thinks less of my integrity than it actually is. I do get angry and I try not to strike out. I really do, especially if I'm concerned about why a friendship would be valuable or not. And in the eyes of God. And so patiently, I prayed about things and hopefully things will get better. But um, either way, I mean, I'm not going to change nothing, you know. But yeah, that's a big thing. When you have values in life, core values that are of God, and somebody tries to say you don't, well, you can't really prove that, especially if there's no witnesses to it. You know what I mean? Like, Well, if the person knows better and they're saying that, that's definitely on them and they will pay for that. But if they don't know any better, I believe God will put it in their heart to know better. So, and I think they know better even if they're lying about you, they know better. So either way, they'll get theirs either good or bad. So I had to put stuff in God's hands. It's like, yeah, yeah, okay. It'll be okay. But so anyway, I wrote my Jonathan this morning and I wrote a couple pages and I kept looking at my guitar. It's like, oh, I want to play it, but I kept writing and I started a couple and turned the page because my writing wasn't neat enough and tried again. And a couple different times took me to get going. And then I was just like, oh, it'll be okay. Because there's nothing worse than, and I was writing cursive. So there's nothing worse than reading somebody's letter and you have to guess what the letters are. That's horrible. Even though my kid grew up around me, he knows my writing. But yeah, um, both my sons have impeccable penmanship. So the oldest one is such an artist, such a sketch artist. He just, if he could only capture that again. But he got discouraged. It's like, no, don't stop being an artist if you have something. Keep doing that, you know? Hope you're watching, Luke. Draw me a rose. Yours was just as pretty as your friend's. A rose is a rose by any other name. So, yeah, Shakespeare. um, which I'm not a great big Shakespeare fan, but I've been around enough. Well, I was in a play, Macbeth, and read enough of his garbage to tell you that he was a Fruit Loop. But besides that, probably a Mason too, if I'm not mistaken. But I have to look that up. Most likely, a lot of his stuff was very dark, especially like in Macbeth after guy got killed by his cheating wife, I do believe. Um, the chambermaid says, "Who'd have thought that he would, or who would have thought he would have so much blood?" That's freaking morbid, isn't it? That was my line. Just terrible. I do believe that's what it was. I was pretty young, but yeah, wow. Well, if you think about it, like 5 quarts of blood, if you spill like a gallon of milk, and that's 4 quarts, just think like it being blood all over. It'd be messy, messy, you know. Yeah. Anyway, well, I think that's probably about it for tonight. I just really, really to watch out if people are around those type of people. Be careful for that conversation change that they try and put back on you. Also, we all know about like the gaslighting, the it's like a sabotage, of course. And um, if you're a Christian, you're most likely a black sheep. They probably are too, but maybe not. They may come from a whole family of narcissists, which I've seen. Um, whole families of them things. Uh, so if you come from a family of them and you have God in your heart, oh, you poor, poor person. I have a feeling. Hi, my friend in Hawaii. Um, I'll be talking to you soon. I would hate to be on an island and stuck with a whole bunch of them. Damn, that's a hideous thought. You can't go far enough to get away from it. Maybe up in the mountains, huh? You wouldn't want to do that because it's like a rainforest. That's terrible. But I got a sense that your troubles are exactly what you say they are. I believe you. And I don't always believe people. I rarely believe anybody. It takes, you know, most people lie. So, but I'm a good judge of character. And we have a right to judge our characters that are in our lives. Don't let anybody fool you any different. You know, who you choose to be around is your choice of companionship. So it is very important what we feed our eyes and our heart, you know, extremely. Okay, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon. I love y'all very much, and have a wonderful night or day. God bless your night or day wherever you're at, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.